Hello and welcome back. I'm that Jack Girl, and this is day 5 of 30 of the Summer Savings Finance Journey. Let's talk about it. Now, day 1, 2, 3, 4, now 5. We've had some great conversations. We've talked about identifying our goals and values, creating a financial vision board or a calendar on day 1. Day 2, we talked about looking for and finding an accountability partner, but that calendar, that, plan, that vision board, we talked about posting it somewhere that you see it every day. Refrigerator, on your mirror in your bathroom, your desk, your computer, your laptop. Save it as a screensaver on your cell phone. Day 3, we talked about prioritizing that debt repayment plan and a savings account. What does that savings account look like for you? Day 4, we focused a lot of our time and spoke on a SMART plan. So we talked about what that SMART plan looks like, and what that SMART plan means. Go back and look at the video from day 4, and that will help you create that plan so that, it's definitely measurable and realistic for you. Day 5, the burning question: how long will it take to get out of debt? Right? Looking at a loan calculator, and creating a scenario. Would I rather? Right? So that's what we're going to talk about today. So when we talk about how long is it going to take to get out of debt, that's a burning question for a lot of us, especially when we are in the beginning of our debt repayment, our financial journey. How long will this take? But we just have to be patient. We have to be patient. We have to make sure that we are staying on target, whatever that goal is. I talk all the time about the goal is your goal. The goal isn't your family member's goal. It's not your coworker's goal. It's not, a neighbor's goal. It's your goal, something that is definitely, measurable and timely for you, something that makes sense, something that's realistic, something that you can keep up with. You may get discouraged, but if you get discouraged, that accountability partner, that's why they're there. They're there to make sure to hold you accountable for the things that you're setting the goals for, be it for that wedding, be it to pay off, your mortgage, be it to pay off credit card and loan debt, be it to take a vacation. Whatever the goal is, it's your goal. So that's why we're here. We're here to make sure that you set that goal and that it's realistic. Let's get into it. Now, when we talk about how long will it take to get out of debt, that's always the burning question. And sometimes it can be discouraging. That could be the sole factor that, takes you over the edge. And then you say after that, I can't do this. I don't want to do it. But just think about it. If you have the means and the income to pay a little extra per month, that question of how long and when will it take, for me to get out of debt, it comes quicker, it comes sooner. So a loan calculator is something that I often use in the financial industry, when I'm sitting down trying to think of a plan, how long will it take me to pay off this particular debt if I pay this much extra per month, or if I pay this much extra per year, or whatever the case may be. A loan calculator will help you figure out those answers to those questions. So the burning question: figure out how long it will take to get you out of debt. How long will it take? Let me read this to you. The first step toward eliminating debt is knowing where you stand. Once you have an idea of how much you need to pay each month to be debt-free, you can create a plan. I'm an advocate of CNBC. CNBC is probably the loan calculator that I'll link down below. But I wanted to just read you something from an article that I found online from CNBC. Americans' credit card debt has spiked as consumers tried to stay afloat amid high inflation and rising interest rates. Total credit card debt in the US surged to a record of $930 billion at the end of 2022. Again, this was a couple of years ago, so it's probably much higher now. Nearly half of consumers say that inflation and rising costs caused their credit card debt to grow. And just over 30% say their debt grew because of rising interest rates, which can make credit cards more expensive to pay off. So with a loan calculator, it can give you an idea of how much money you could save by paying more than the minimum each month, if you can afford to do so. For loans with a set time horizon, such as a personal loan or a car loan, enter the full amount of the loan into the calculator, as well as the term length and the interest rate. So again, I'm going to link that down below. Just click on the link and just play with it a little bit. See how much you could save by making those few extra payments. Now, when we talk about the would I rather scenario, so let me just read this to you. Would I rather order daily takeout or spend a week at the beach this summer? This is a quick check-in that can help you prioritize your goals. Would I rather? That's a big question. A big question. Would I rather take out, or would I rather go into the grocery store with that recipe in hand, buying all of the items to feed either myself or my family, and then just having the experience of cooking it myself? Or would I rather go to a restaurant crowded with a bunch of people, spend a huge bill, nothing to kind of take home for leftovers? Would I rather, go on a vacation, spend flight money, train money, gas money, toll money, or would I rather stay at home and try to create that oasis, that I'm looking for, that I'm searching for at home? Maybe there's a closet that you have to clean out, a room, that you would like to redecorate and throw some, things away. Is there like an outdoor project at home that you would prefer to kind of tackle and you've never really made time to do it? So would you rather take that vacation or do something to try to, make your home more beautiful, or clean it up, throw things away? That's what we're faced with, when we're trying to strategize to pay off debts early, to save money for an upcoming, life event. It could be a wedding, it could be the birth of a new baby, purchasing a home. The would I rathers, you got to think about it. You got to think about what would you rather do. Until tomorrow, thank you so much for day 5. Day 6 is next. Day 6 of 30, we're almost there. So we just have to make sure that we keep each other accountable, we keep each other encouraged, because we can get there. We can get there together. So thank you. Bye-bye.